The reason your physique doesn't match your potential has nothing to do with your training plan and everything to do with how you execute it. You show up, you put in the work, you're consistent, and nobody questioned you about that. And yet, you know, that's only partially true. You know that whenever you close your laptop at the end of your day and you just want to relax, you kick your feet up, you can't, because your mind continuously tells you how much more it has left in the tank. Most men never achieve their goals within the gym because they continuously make these 4 mistakes, and they do it over and over and over again. This robs them of being able to build a physique that they're proud of without them even knowing it most of the time. 99% of the people that I work with come to me after training for years, trying different workout programs, seeing some results, and building a body that their friends and society tells them is decent. And yet, they know they're nowhere close to their peak, and they're stuck, not because of the lack of information, but because they've been holding back, and it's showing up in the gym, in their work, in their relationships, in their confidence, and have realized that the only way for them to be able to fix this is by going all in and fully committing to fixing their body, to developing their mind, and creating alignment internally with themselves and the version of them they know they can be. In this video, I am going to walk through the 4 mistakes that most men make that keep them looking average and performing average and settling within life, and never allows them to fully become the version of themselves they know they should be. And so, I want you to pause this video, grab a piece of paper, get a pen, and write these down. And then at the end of this, I want you to really reflect on how you've been showing up within your workouts and see if any of these mistakes are ones that you're making, and then really come up with a game plan to be able to get over it. Because as a man, your physique is the most valuable asset that you have. If you can master this, if you can master the self, everything else becomes easy. People respect you more. You respect yourself more, which means you believe in yourself to be able to go after these big goals that you have, and you don't settle. And so I really want you to pay attention to this video, maybe even watch it over a couple of times. But really ask yourself if you're making any of these mistakes, and if so, commit to coming up with a plan and overcoming them so that you can become the version of you you know you should be. And so the first one is not properly doing cardio. And this is broken up 3 ways. You have too little, too much, and timing. Too many times, people will go to the gym, they'll pick up heavy things and put them back down for an hour, and then they'll go back home, sit at their desk, and pretty much not move for the rest of the day. They'll get up, they'll go get some food, but they're not moving their body enough to be able to expend enough energy so that they can remove the fat that is covering their muscle underneath. And so this is why I have all of my clients commit to taking at least 10,000 steps a day. You can do this any way that you want. If you're a busy individual, you are in sales, you're a recruiter, you are constantly having to show up and always are on calls and different things like that, one of the best things you can do for your fitness and also for your career is to take breaks. Go for short little walks around your neighborhood. Go walk outside and walk right back. Do something that will get your body moving. Because what this does is it gives you more time in silence. It gives you more time to be able to connect with your creator. So whenever you do come back to work, you have a clear mind. You know exactly how you want to show up, and you allow yourself to show up the way that you know you need to get the outcome that you're looking to achieve. And then it also helps within fitness, because as you're walking, you're not expending a ton of energy, but you're able to produce enough that sheds the fat without really messing with the muscle. And so if you are somebody that does not get at least 10,000 steps a day, that is one of the biggest unlocks that you can do for your physique. I had a client, Ethan. He's been working out consistently, tried a bunch of different programs, and we got him in to shift. One of the first things we did was say, hey, you need to increase your step count. He got up to 10,000 steps. He's lost 10 pounds in 3 weeks and built his relationship with his girlfriend because he's used it to be able to better other areas of his life. And he brings his girlfriend with him. And so these are things that you can think about and how they can impact you by getting up and moving your body more. The second thing is going to the other side of the spectrum and doing too much cardio. Too many people will want to become a hybrid athlete. They'll run, they'll cycle, they'll do all of these things that expend a ton of energy, but then they'll never eat enough food to be able to balance out the scales. So yes, they are losing fat, but they're also losing a lot of muscle, and it makes them look flat. And so if you are going to be somebody who's running a lot, then you have to make sure that you're balancing out your nutrition and you know how you should adjust your days based on the runs that you have. And the last one is timing. There's 2 ways you can do this. But the reason why this is important is because if you are somebody that does their cardio and then goes straight into a lift, you've already depleted a ton of your glycogen storage, and so now you're not going to have enough energy to fully be able to perform to your best of your ability as you go throughout your workouts. And so the 2 ways that you can address this is, one, doing what I mentioned before, going and taking short walks in between calls, and that's how you get your cardio in. Or you can do what I do, and that is I split my workouts into 2. I have a time in the morning when I go and I do cardio. I run, I walk on an incline, and that's normally around 5 in the morning, fasted, and no music, no nothing. I just allow myself to move, connect with my creator, view how I'm going to show up within my day. And then what this does is it not only allows me to get my steps in, but it also aligns me with the version of me that I have to be for me to be able to achieve my goals. And so I play out how I'm going to show up. And I use that time to really think about what I have to get done. What are the biggest needle movers for me? And then whenever I'm done, I know exactly what to execute on. I know my role, I know my goal, and I just go. And that's it. And so it's like you can split your workouts into 2, and you can do cardio in the day. And then when I do my weightlifting session, it's normally in the afternoon after I've had my first meal, since I suspend eating for the first 5 hours since I wake up. And so those are the 3 main things with cardio. Not enough, too much, and timing. You have to make sure that you've mastered all of these to be able to help you achieve your goals. The second one is trying to rest the process, especially if you're in a position of influence. Too many times you are moving quickly throughout your day. I know whenever I have a ton of calls and different things like that, my mind is always go, 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 go. And I'm very tapped into my conscious mind, and it never really allows me to tap into my unconscious. I have to remind myself continuously to slow down, to take deep breaths, and to limit the amount of stress that I allow on myself. And so this is so important within the gym and within your career as well, because if you're always in your conscious mind and lost within it, you're triggering your fight or flight, and that just causes you to always be reactive to the things around you. But by taking a deep breath, slowing your heart rate down, being present, becoming aware of the things around you, you allow yourself to really become clear on how you want to show up, and you're not as reactive. You're able to live from what I call within, instead of having to always react to everything that's around you. Because when you learn to live within, you will never go without. And why does this apply to training? Because if you are going through your training and you're thinking of it as something that you just have to get done, then you're going to rush through your sets. You're going to rush your rest periods, and you're not going to allow yourself to fully recover between each set to be able to perform the way that you need. And you'll mess up your form by trying to rush each workout, and you'll increase the risk that you have for injury, and you don't give yourself enough time under tension to really maximize hypertrophy. And so by you slowing down, not trying to rush everything, you allow yourself to really get the maximum benefit of everywhere in life. So not only within the gym, but you allow yourself to be more present whenever you're with your loved one. You allow yourself to be more present whenever you're on your calls. You allow yourself to be more present whenever you're talking to your team, and you're not as reactive, and you get to truly direct your reality because now you are in control. You are not having to always bend and be affected by the things that are going on around you. You realize that you get to decide how you show up and what you choose to do within each and every moment. And you have full control over yourself. And that just helps you be able to perform at your best whenever you need to. The third one, and this is probably the biggest one, is people always think that training is only physical. It is not. For you to build an elite physique, for you to build within your career, for you to increase your dating life, for you to really develop your whole being, you must train your mind as much as you train your body. And what do I mean by that? You need to have a process that does what I was talking about in the first step, where it aligns you with the version of you that you have to show up as for you to be able to achieve your goals, because you don't get what you want, you get what you are. And the only way you can get what you are is by being extremely clear on the things that you want to create, on the things that you want to have within this life, the physique, the job, the relationship, everything. And aligning yourself with that version of you that can have it, and then taking the beliefs from that version and putting them into you today. So as you go about your day, you're operating from your highest self. And when you do that, you are always working towards your North Star. And so you show up the way you know you need to within the gym. You show up the way you need to within your nutrition. You show up the way you need to whenever you are trying to grow within your career. And by developing your mind and putting in just as much time on building the mind, building the internal, you allow it to be that much easier for you to be able to build the external. Because even if you're in between sets and your mind is somewhere else, you're not really able to focus, you're starting to doubt yourself, you're starting to tell yourself you're tired, that's going to affect how you execute your lifts. But by mastering your mind and being able to say, all right, I know what I'm doing. I know my role. I know my goal. I know how I need to execute. I know how I need to show up if I want to be able to achieve the things that I want. Then you tell yourselves the things you need to be able to fully execute each and every single lift to get the maximum benefit out of it. And so it's not always just physical. Like, yes, pushing heavy weights and picking them up and putting them back down. That's important. Yes. But also the physical aspect of it, to make sure that you're doing it the way you know you should. Because if you remember what I said in the beginning, it's not your workout program, it's how you execute it. And the way that you execute it is all based on here. All based on here. It's not the information, you already know. And if you don't know, then it's so easy for you to be able to get that with ChatGPT, with all of the free content online. Like, if you need a workout program, nutrition, anything like that, because you don't feel as if you're dialed in, or you want to see how I train my clients, then just message me on Instagram, message me Elite, and I'll send you over a free guide that breaks down everything for nutrition that helps you be able to show up within the gym the way you need to, and allow you to have a clear mind and be focused and present as you go through work while still being able to get in all your calories to reach your goals. And then also, I will give you a detailed breakdown around how you should be training. It will come with a 4-day split and a 5-day split. Choose whichever one works best for you, and you can run with that. But if you don't have that information, that should never be an excuse. And if you have information, the only thing that matters now is how you execute on it. And the only way that you can improve how you execute is by improving the self, improving the mind, improving the motor that keeps this vehicle going. And so you must realize that training is not only physical. And you must allow yourself to put in the time to develop your mind as much as you develop your body. That's why everyone that comes to the shift program, we teach them everything around fitness, around building an elite physique, but we also teach them how to become a director of their reality, how they can use things like the director's cut to be able to focus them and allow them to show up the best way that they know they need to, how to use the creator lens to be able to make sure everything that happens within their reality benefits them and doesn't harm them and take them away from their goals. All of these things are just as important as how much weight you lift. And the last one, number 4, is most people set these little goals with no timelines and they never end up achieving them. You must set big goals if you want to achieve big things. That's why everyone in shift goes through a shift protocol. And that is whenever you choose something that is challenging, that has to completely shift the way that you show up within your life, because when you shift the character, you shift the outcome. And so, for example, the one that I just went through, I ran a marathon and I ran 5 days per week. I worked out 5 days per week on top of working, on top of having to show up within my relationship, having to be a good brother, a good son, everything on top of that. I added that into my workload. And the reason why this is so important is for 2 things, because I believe people need to do hard things because it shows you who you are. I learned so much about myself every single time I do a shift. And that's why all my clients go through it as well. Because what it forces you to do is raise your standard to a point that it makes it almost impossible for you to regress back to the old version of you, because now you've seen what you are capable of. And the other reason why this is important is because for you to be able to achieve shift, you have to change the way you show up. And you have to fully commit to doing something hard for an extended period of time. And then whenever you achieve that thing and you go back to just training normally, it's so easy because now you're not having to put as much volume on yourself and you're just like, okay, I can do this because I've done this before. I've done harder things. And so you have to set big goals, and you have to have one goal per year that really forces you to put your all into it so that you can stop half-assing it and fully commit to something. And if you can do this within fitness, you can do this within every other area of your life because you build that confidence within you. You build that muscle that says, you know what, I am someone that figures it out. I am somebody that shows up. And whenever you build that, it shows up in every other area. So whenever work gets hard, you're not stressed. You don't react like I was mentioning before. You control it. You direct how you respond. You get to choose how you show up at all times. And that allows you to move forward towards your goals in a much more fluid pattern. And so, those are the 4 things. If you know that you've been holding back, that there's so much more left inside of you and you just don't know how to get it out and you want help, then click the application below, fill it out, and I'll reach out to you. If we're a good fit, we can talk about how we can help you within shift to be able to go after your big goals and stop settling for a life that you know you were never supposed to live. If we're not a good fit, I'll send you over free information. Or if you just want the breakdown around training, nutrition, then message me on Instagram, Elite, and I'll send it over to you. But either way, brother, always remember, I said this earlier, but this is so important. When you shift the character, you shift the outcome. And so think of how you've been showing up within your training. Think about where you need to shift, how you have been showing up so that you can execute on the things that you know you already need to do for you to be able to achieve your goals. All right, brother. That's it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.